tutti. Hello, hello, hello. How are you today? Welcome to my streaming to this underground of Naples. We are waiting for all the live that will be connected. Let's check. How are you? Hello everyone. Happy to join. I'm just opening the other device, so I will check the chat over there. So let's go. Here we are. Ciao Julie-kun, ciao Tish, Susan, Tamela, Tish, Susan, Bev, welcome. So dear family, I'm so happy that I could find a solution for this tour that was scheduled for the last week, but there was an unforeseen event for my connections and I was far from home, so I could not be with you, so I postponed for today, and happy to be here. So we are gonna be live in a couple of seconds. I will share with you my streaming, my video that I took for the underground of Naples, which is an incredible place in the deep center of Naples. We will explore the underground of this old Greek and Roman colony. I think that if someone is coming to visit Naples, this stop is a must. Unfortunately, it's not very well known because most of the people coming here are coming for Pompeii, are coming for Herculaneum, for the museum. But the archaeological sites that we have, that I will show you very soon, I'm just waiting some other friends will join, it's an archaeological gem. I recorded this video about a few months ago, and then as you can understand, the 10 meters below the ground of Napoli, it will be hard to find a live signal. That's why this is a good way to explore the heart of my city. Let's check if you have something here. Okay. Hello, Polly. Good to see you again. Good, Meryl, Steven, Catherine, Tish. Let's start our dive to the underground of Naples. Here we are, dear family. Let me just, I think that you can see the video. It's, I'm just trying to fit to the screen, just a couple of seconds, and here we are. That is the place where we are going to start our underground travel, which is in a very special spot of Napoli. Napoli, as you may know, is a city with 100 of churches, 472, and the place where now we are, it's the entrance from the cloister of the church of San Lorenzo Maggiore, which is a Gothic cathedral built, that one that we can see from the 13th century, above a previous church, and that previous church from the 6th century after Christ built above the Roman market. The model that you can see right now, I'm making just a little pause for our tour, so you can understand much more where we are. It's a 3D model made with this plastic, showing us that in the center of Napoli, 20 centuries ago, at the early Roman Empire, there was an incredible temple dedicated to Dioscuri, the son of Zeus, but now instead of that temple we have a church called San Paolo Maggiore. This is something that happened quite often in all the area where the Roman Empire was around, but especially in Napoli, most of the old temples changed to churches. Some of them just recycled material, recycled buildings like columns, mosaics, and that is what we can see in San Lorenzo Maggiore, the church where now we are for the cloister, where during the centuries people just recycled material. And then what you can see now is a beautiful cloister transformed in this style in the late Baroque architecture, but the cloister was built uh, in the same period of the Gothic medieval church. So at the end of the 13th century, when the French kings of Naples, the Anjou, wanted to give to the Francescani, the order of friars, a piece of land where they could start a Franciscan convent. So the Church of St. Lawrence, which is a beautiful gem of Gothic in Napoli, I suggest you really to visit, uh, was built literally above the Macellum, the market. Now you can see a little portion from this tholos. The tholos is a round-shaped building that we can only see the upper level of it, and soon we will go to the underground of this place. When was discovered this important spot? Well, first of all, we need to go back after the World War II, when Napoli was bombed a lot by the Allies, 28,000 bombs, and then other excavations started in the 1970s and after the earthquake of 1980. But before going to the deep history of the underground of Napoli, you must see the beautiful chapter which is this spectacular. It looks like a jungle or a forest of crossed arches with a beautiful grotesque style, with this special kind of decoration that we can see, especially from the early 17th century and the late 16th century, and some of the columns from the Roman time recycled uh, to be the support of this vaulted ceiling with this incredible style, this beautiful decoration. All that you can see never has been changed. That is still original from the early 17th century, painted by Rodriguez. We have some virtues, a lot of seashell, a lot of reminder to the famous discoveries happening in the almost few decades before in Rome. The grotesque style, it's something that we can see quite often during the buildings of that period. And that is a famous moment where the King of Naples, the King Charles of Anjou, it's donating. That is a donation. So that's an important moment. A royal family, it's giving to an order of friars a piece of land where they could start to build their own church. That is it's a really important action, and it's the symbol that the royal family was close to the order. The beautiful windows, so the side of this wall, is showing us now like a sort of a genealogical tree of all the most important cardinals or members of the church that they were from the Franciscan order. What happened in this room? Well, in this room actually was the place where the abbot of uh, of um, of the convent and the church could meet the representatives of the people and someone sent by the royal family, because Naples has been the capital of a kingdom for centuries. And actually, in that room, the most important argument talking about the life of the city took place. So it is this room and the convent and the church in general. It was a very important part for the public life of Naples. So when I wanted to show you this underground tour of Napoli, it was not just the underground on itself, but it was the whole frame around. That was not the only gem or secret room in this beautiful cloister. That it's there are a lot of sculptures always reminding to St. Lawrence or St. Francis or St. Anthony. It was another important Franciscan church, saint. We have this very special capitelli uh, supporting this pillar, giving us the chance to enter in this beautiful, really beautiful and not well known room in Naples. It's over 35 meters long and is all completely painted, showing the virtues of the King of Naples, or what kind of virtues the King of Naples should have. The same artist, Rodriguez, who painted the chapter hall to the other side, painted the whole beautiful vaulted ceiling. That is the crest of the Viceroy, the Viceroy of Naples, because Napoli in the 17th century was controlled by some governor for the emperor of the Habsburg family. So Napoli seen a lot of different crowns, starting with the Norman kings, then we went to the French, then we passed to the Spanish with the Alfonso d'Aragona, then to the Habsburg, and then back to the Spanish crown with the Bourbon house. Until then, the unification of Italy that happened in the 1861. That is called the room of Sisto, the Pope Sisto, and actually the basement, it was all covered with a tapestry that we don't have them anymore, lost during the centuries, but the ceiling is still there intact from the 1615. So that is more or less the time period when this beautiful spot was painted. How is going? I think it's stunning, yeah? I think it's amazing, really amazing. Most of the people coming to Italy, they are visiting Venice, Florence, and Rome, but believe me, family, Naples has incredible gems to explore. And this underground, called the Neapolis Sotterrata, please take a note in case you are coming, because if you just digit on your computer the underground of Napoli, it will show you the Roman aqueduct, which is totally different from what we are going to explore now. We are going to explore the market, which is totally different from the Roman aqueduct that is very deep. Now to the screen you can see the one of the most famous things that Napoli is known for, which is the nativity scene. That is St. Joseph, the Virgin Mary, some other figures around. They're all made of clay, while the clothes are made of silk from the Kingdom of Naples. Yes, it's gorgeous family. Yeah, Tamala, this is the virtues of the king, they're amazing. Hello, CC, ciao everyone. I love to do this tour as a live because it's so good in terms of time zone. You are more relaxed. Me too. I can do tours in a real life person tour and then staying with you live, which is amazing. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting my channel. Grazie, grazie. But let's start now this important adventure. That is the name of the archaeological site, which is called San Lorenzo Maggiore. You can take a note in case you are suggesting to some of your friends that they are coming to Naples, or if you are coming to Naples, to say, okay, let's go and explore this underground part of Naples. For sure, you can contact me whenever you want. If I'm available, I'm happy to be your guide. With some of you, like Tammy, we did tours together. With Leeds, with Christy, so with a lot of you, we did tours together. But if you want, you can send me an email and we can plan your trip. But let's go to this incredible travel. So, thank you, Joan. Grazie. Just a stair, just a few steps that will give us the chance to go completely to another world, to another era. Napoli, it's like a big lasagna, layers upon layers of different lives. And the first step, where now we go, that is the medieval Naples. The medieval facade, the medieval soul of Napoli. The holes that you can see on the wall, they were for the wooden beams that they have to support the balcony of the second floor of buildings, while what you can see now, all of that incredible arches, those are all part of the first century AD. That it's the Roman layer of Napoli. So basically, in one shot, you can catch the ceiling, or well, the roof of the convent, the medieval, I mean, 6th century AD layer, because I will understand why, and then arches and the Roman part of Napoli. I think it's magic. There are just few places in all over the world that can give us this incredible perspective. That part where now you can see a few steps, that layer, that is from the early Middle Age, because Napoli was affected by a huge mudslide, an incredible mudslide following after an eruption of the Mount Vesuvius. Then the whole Greek-Roman side of Napoli was totally buried with over 5 meters of material. That is another important um, portion, that this panel you can see uh, a little bit, for sure, because now we will go actually to the roads of the Roman Naples, to one of the Cardo, the Cardine, which is the north to south streets, and here you are. Welcome back to the Roman world. Another few steps to give us the chance to walk on the original basalt mixed with some travertine slabs of the Roman Naples. For sure, the side to the right, where you can see this big cement wall that was used to support the whole church and the building above our head, because I don't know if it's clear, but now we are literally beneath the church. And what you can see to the screen, that is part of the Greek part of Napoli, because Napoli was a colony founded the Neapolis, near the new city, in the 5th century BC. Then Romans built above, and where we are now, we are standing, thus are all the bricks of the Macellum, the marketplace of the 1st century AD. All of the different rooms to the right side of the screen are the entrance of commercial activities, and the first one supposed to be the Erarium, the Erario, which is the place where all the tax of the city were stored. That is another wall, a little bit built after. That is from the 2nd century AD. That you can see the mixtures of bricks and tufa stone with the Roman cement. Actually, we can determine also how flourishing was a city by the technique of construction, and when you see more bricks than cement, means that that was more expensive for sure to produce bricks than cement, and it was a very flourishing colony, especially under the Augustan age. So in the early Roman Empire, Naples was, with the Pozzuoli especially more than Naples, was the heart of the trade connections that the empire had. Let's enter into the Erarium, which is the first room. As you can see, it's incredible how it's preserved even the ceiling or every single wall. Remember that everything that you can see has been excavated by hand during the 20th century, last century. Everything was filled with mud. Those are the holes where they had shelves, I guess in the Roman time, where they could store something, or scrolls, or like just pieces of treasure or offers. The underground part that you can see now, that is from the Greek period, because the city of Napoli again was built above the Greek colony. For sure, the technique of constructions are very different. That's why it's easy for us to determine what was Greek. As you can see now, these big blocks of local stone, most of them curved with such incredible letters, and then above, bricks and the opus reticulatum, which is clearly from the Roman time. This is beautiful, Nietzsche. This is spectacular. I'm happy that you can discover something totally diverse. And then that is still part of this Greek architecture, because not so far from here, but we will see soon after, that was part of the Greek cistern. So they have to build some contraforti to support the weight of such water, a lot of water, inside that big cistern. And what you can see now in this screen, that is a shop. So the first room that we have seen, it was the tax office, the erario, or the treasure room of the city of Naples in the Roman time. This other part, it's the fullonica. The fullonica, which is the laundrette of the Roman time, it's basically the place where people used to wash clothes. What kind of material they used to wash clothes? Well, in that pool, Romans have to press with the feet, I guess, with a lot of urine, which is ammoniac, to bleach clothes, and that after they were washing for sure. But it's from the Fullonica, from this kind of shop, commercial activity, that basically the famous sentence "pecunia non olet" was born. Money does not have smell. Next to the Fullonica, it's quite interesting to see how, of course, the table and the artifact that you can see, that's as a modern reproduction. But next to the Fullonica, we have an oven. Oh well, a pistrinum, a bakery, where people could buy bread. So we need to imagine this place of Napoli, where now we are, to the underground, like a big shopping mall area, not close with a ceiling, because that was used now to support the convent and the church, but actually that was all open sky, open air, with a beautiful road made of basalt, uh, built to have water during a rainy day to go on both sides. The pistrinum or the bakery, it's the forno, and we can also see, like in Pompeii, the gap, the groove, where Romans used to hold the folding sliding doors. And this arch, this is something that the professor De Simone, which is my professor who did the excavations to the deep underground of Napoli, actually it's the mud that I'm touching. Is very hard. It's hard like a rock. This is all part of the mud of this alluvione and the mudslides that filled the city of Napoli. So basically, the arch that you can see is a cut made by the archaeologists to support even better the weight and the structures of the buildings above. This other shop, it's called the Tintoria, which is the dyeing shop where they used to change the colors of the different clothes. It's also good to see that that big arch was connected with an aqueduct, so the water could pass through pipes. Those are the remains of some dolium where they used to store the pigments. That is the name, the dyeing shop, Tintoria. But now, family, we are reaching one of my favorite parts of this underground, which is called the Cryptoportico. I'm amazed always by the shape of the arches. The pillars that you can see now, those are the pillars supporting the church. So basically, we are now beneath benches where people are doing ceremonies every day. And then enjoy the view of the so-called Cryptoportico, which is my favorite part of this underground. It's really spectacular. I'm making the video now to pause so you can see better if you want to take a screenshot, if you want to have a reminder, a beautiful corner of this underground, that is one of the most well-preserved Cryptoportici, which is a covered hidden passage of the Roman world. One similar to this is not so far from the Colosseum in Rome, which is called the Cryptoportico of Nero. I don't know how many of you have been there, but this is here in Naples. It's really an archaeological gem. What happened under this series of arches? Well, we are still connected with the market. So basically, you might have people selling any kind of products, food, with a lot of liquid. That's why the table that we can see, they had a little pendants. So any kind of water things like egg or vegetable could just drop on the floor and then they could actually wash. That little arch beneath there, that was a storage where they could store their products. So every day Romans could come into this market, the Macellum that I know that some of you who studied Latin in the English speaking world, you might call it Macellum. The Italian way of pronunciation of this building, of this place, it's called Macellum, but we are talking about the same place. Arches are made of bricks mixed with the Roman cement, which is produced with the pozzolana. This is a very interesting material coming from Puteoli, the modern Pozzuoli, and is based on volcanic ash. Every single wall was also covered with a plaster, which is a waterproofing material, and that are some stairs that went up to the second floor, because this big market had also an upper floor that unfortunately is completely destroyed and gone, because they built this new city, the medieval city upstairs, and especially when they built the church, they recycled most of the material found to the underground, and they reused for the cathedral above. Sorry, the basilica above. It's also interesting to see how beneath some of the plaster we can see the big blocks of tufa stone from the Greek age, from the Greek period. I think it's phenomenal. I don't know if you are enjoying, but I hope so actually. But this is phenomenal. That is another great view that I wanted to take you this shot so you can actually immerse yourself into this adventure into the heart of my city, Naples. Yes. Yeah, I read somehow. Read this is an incredible place. That's true. Yes. And that is an original pipe made of clay, because the upper floor of the market there were some private accommodation, some other offices, and the rainwater was collected, passed through the wall, and went directly to the underground cistern that we can see right now. The underground cistern, which is reused in the Roman time, it was built by Greeks and is very deep. You can see now that it's better when if you're coming here to don't lose anything to the underground, because there is no chance to get back, and people are losing sunglasses, sometimes phones. That is very bad. That is the underground cistern that was closed with a vaulted ceiling, and is all made with this big block of tufa from the Greek period of Napoli. Look how deep it is. Very, very deep. Romans were very good to recycle part of the Greek construction, and that's why they basically readopted or readapted to what they new needs. And then from the market area, now we are completely to another part of this archaeological site, totally different. Well, there are two theories of what kind of things could be the place where now we are walking. We have some remains of a mosaics on the floor, as you can see into the video. And there is also an impluvium, which is this pool used for the collection of rainwater. But actually, the sign, official sign, into this now touristic path, it's talking about a scola. Scola was like a corporation of people where they could learn about a job, like a corporation of labor, like a labor party. The impluvium, it's also true that it's made with a proper marble, something expensive. It's also very hard to believe that actually they could have a school with a pool used covered with a marble. So my professor believes that in terms of what kind of building could be, more than a school, could be a house, a private accommodation. Even because the quality of the mosaics that we discovered and we can see right very soon, and some of the pillars mixed into the wall right now, open maybe to a peristelium, it's giving us a lot of info that's supposed to be a home more than a school. But this is an archaeological conjectura. It's a debate open. We should make other excavations, but that at the moment is not possible because the excavations will go too deep under the church and will be a big issue, will be a big problem, because don't forget that Mount Vesuvius, the volcano, is still active. What you can see now, it's a floor made with cacio pesto, which is a very waterproofing material and supposed to be part of a place with a bath or something connected with the water. You want to cry? No. Yeah, well, the place where now we are literally family. It's a secret gem of Napoli. Secret gem. And it's pretty big, eh? Of course, coming along, there is not so much to learn about this place. You should stay with a guide. That is the remain of a little bit of a fresco with a very elegant mosaic, which is a mixture of travertine and basalt with that double lines of black color, the opus reticulatum for part of the wall, and a little window with a basement made of terracotta open to another room. And here the archaeological sites have to stop because there is no space actually for uh, for for the new excavations here. How is going? Good? Yeah, Napoli really is giving us a lot of beautiful discoveries. And then walking back to the place where we entered, we are able now to go to the upper floor of this place. We will pass through a little shop because Napoli has these connections of archaeological sites with the bookshops, but not bookshop in general where you can buy books or like a little standard souvenir. But Napoli is also the city of the cameo. I skipped that part because I wanted to show you a little museum that is placed into the rooms of the convent. So we are able to see part of the convent and some of the artifacts found during the excavations, which is, in my opinion, very interesting. It's a very old style of exhibition for the museum. It's not like the National Museum of Napoli or the Vatican, but still some incredible artifacts like this sarcophagus with this strigile style, the strigile, which is S-shaped table. It's made of an important marble. Usually, how happened often, the Roman pagan sarcophagi, they were basically readapted in the Christian time. That picture that now you can see, black and white, that it's part of the excavations of the cloister where we were when we started our tour, when we see that beautiful room with the frescoes, and the well in the middle, built next to the top of the Tolos, part of the marketplace. So removing the basalt stones in the middle of the cloister, you will basically will see other archaeological remains. It really is incredible, it's true. But it's very hard to explain. You need to be very focused in archaeology to understand this place. That what I'm pointing is basically the cloister with some of the red sign. It's the excavations of the 1970s right there. Oh, sorry, that one is the 1997. The most recent excavation. That beautiful capitello made of marble with acanthus slits. And then we can go to the next room where we have an interesting model and some of the plates, the epigraphy, descriptions found during excavations, and some of them are made of Greek letters. So a lot of Greek culture was still in Napoli when Napoli was a Roman colony. And that is a map of the city where you can see the typical north to south cardini and east to west decumani. Napoli has three decumani, three horizontal roads, and 20 vertical streets. And there was also a big line of double city walls with the watchtowers, pretty important, especially during the Greek Gothic War in the 5th century. And the city walls of Napoli were pretty strong to avoid the attack of the so-called barbarians. That is part of the walls in the picture. Some other beautiful remains of statues made of clay, other part of the wall. And then it's like a sort of a museum talking about the history of the historical center of Naples, let's say. The model, it's not so clear to read, but I'm trying to help you. I know that this way of very vintage 3D, it's giving us now, please, let's focus on this frame. We can see the building with the orange roof, that it's the remain, oh well, it was there, the temple dedicated to the son of Zeus, Dioscorus. Now there is a church. Uh, of that temple, what we can see today is only the basement, if you go inside the church, and beautiful Corinthians columns on the facade. The back of the temple, now church, there is a palace, a private palace, built on top of the remain of the theater built by Nero. So we are in the first half of the first century after Christ, where the Emperor Nero built a theater made of marble that now it's impossible to go inside because it's not private property. So the owners of the building that you can see now, just the model of the theater, they open their balcony every day and they can just enjoy the slabs of marble of the theater paid by the Emperor Nero. That is insane, but it's Naples. That's why the UNESCO site, that is the picture of the slabs of the seats, the cave of the Theatre of Napoli. That is really important to see, because the UNESCO in 1997 declared the whole historical center of Napoli World Heritage Site. I love this little museum. Really, I love it. Because it's a mixture of Greek background artifacts, Roman things, We will see also some amphoras. It's also interesting to see that some of the inscriptions found during the excavations of Naples, even from the second century after Christ, when the Latin language was the official one of the empire, they were in Greek, which means that Napoli was always the Greek lighthouse for the culture of the Roman Empire. Into the glass that you can see, there are beautiful pieces of clay, sigillata, the sigillata africana, some lamps called lucerne for the oil lamps, some decorations for the roofs of spouts or masks, symbol apotropaic, used to protect the family or the city from the bad luck. Those are all lucerne, all lamps made of clay. Some other are also pretty late, like late Roman ceramic. And then the amphoras. The amphoras are very important for us because studying the amphoras, we can determine the commerce that a city had with the rest of the world. As you can see into the title of this banner, the the commerce of Naples in between the 4th and the 1st century before Christ. As you can see, the eastern world, Greece, and some coast of the area of Turkey, they had the connect, and Northern Africa had as a main drop for material for good and stuff, Naples. For this reason, we discovered a lot of amphoras, and it's thanks to the study of the amphoras that we can tell you all of this incredible info. Because studying the amphoras, we can understand when they produced them, where they are coming from, and what kind of content they had inside. So, when we discovered an amphoras for an archaeologist, that can be even better than discovering a proper jewelry box because we can determine the info of a place or of a city. Then, dear family, those are some decorations made of marble of the temples or the areas discovered during the excavations of St. Lawrence, which means that the market, the Macellum, was a very rich part of the city. Napoli was flourishing. There were a lot of philosophers. Those are beautiful Aphrodite heads, and another little sculpture with the two faces. So there were philosophers, there were traders from all over the Roman Empire. It was incredible. Don't forget that Pompeii or Herculaneum were famous worldwide, are not so far from Napoli. But that is the golden age of the commerce. That is in between the early Roman Empire and let's say the 3rd century after Christ. Napoli, in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, it was the perfect corner for merchants, for people who were selling spices and other products. They could meet halfway in between the Peninsula Iberica, Spain, Northern Africa, Jerusalem, Egypt, especially Egypt, and Greece. So the most part of Northern Europe, there was not so much commerce actually. The commerce and the most flourishing part of the empire, it was in the southern part of this corner. Let's go over so we can actually see some of the amphoras and the shape of them. I'm making some pauses so you can enjoy and admire much more. No? Yes, it's like a little museum, Polis, true is, and yes, Urbach, it's a very nice to have that model. That's a full amphoras. I want to tell you something that is not related with this place, but it's important to know that most of the amphoras, especially the big one during the Middle Age, they were used, or the late Roman time, they were used to bury people inside. Those are called encutrismos burial, where they used to bury people inside the amphoras, usually kids. And that is part of the mosaic of the church built above the market after the mudslide, where we can actually see some incredible remains of pagan symbol mixed with the early Christian time. That is called Nodo Gordiano, or you can see leaves, doves, symbol of Christianity, and grapes. It's beautiful this period because it was a mixture in between the pagan symbol and the early Christian time. At the end of the Roman Empire, where the rest of the Western world was literally in a dark age, Napoli was still alive, and that other picture is showing us that the only port active what remained of the Western Roman Empire was Naples. That's why Napoli had for a few centuries like a sort of influence from the Eastern Roman Empire, or well, the old Roman Constantinople, the modern Istanbul, that we can see these influences of this Moresque style, especially to the Amalfi Coast, because the Amalfi Coast from the 11th century was the first maritime republic. That is from the 3rd and the 7th century after Christ. Napoli is still active. Naples never had a dark age, like Roma, for example, had. And we can understand all of this incredible info by the great ceramic, especially the medieval ceramic called smaltata, with a flowers design and animals that we can still see into this glass. Those are ceramic from the 14th or the 13th century AD, so in the full of the Middle Age. We are at the end of our tour, dear family, but I wanted to dive through the beauty of this place. And then if you have some questions, I'm happy to answer your curiosity. Don't forget, please, to like my channel, to put the bell on, because I will add other tours in the next few weeks. Don't worry, we won't be alone. We'll be together discovering the beauty of my region. And if you would like to leave a coffee, I will be more than happy, because you can find actually into the description of this tour any link to help me in my adventure for the live tours. So thank you again. Sorry, I have my dogs. They are quite exuberant this time of the day. They wanna eat. Let's see if we have some questions for from some friends. Today I'm so happy because we had about 60 people connected, which is a great. I know there are not so many because there are other guides who has a lot of viewers, but for me it's a great goal because usually there are always 20, 25. Now we are 60, and that is a great goal for me. I hope we will be always more, and my intent is to be live probably in many other places, especially from Pompeii, but at the moment it's too hot. So I need to find a solution. I will find a solution, but at the moment I have a lot of beautiful as live tours for some areas of the region of Campania that I will be more than happy to share with you in this format. My dogs now are to another part of the garden. Next time I will have my one is very exuberant. Hera, she's not even 1 year old, very young. Zeus is pretty old. It's about 8 years old, but is a very elegant dog. Both are German Shepherds. I live at the feet of the volcano, the Vesuvius, where here the region is full of green because of the soil, and my dogs are happy to run into my garden. So again, family, thank you for your time. Grazie mille. If you have any doubts, you can write a comment. You can send me an email. Please remember also to follow my Instagram page, which is called the Grand Tour Experience, or Naples Grand Tour, both. You can follow both, even on Facebook. So Facebook, Naples Grand Tour, and Grand Tour Experience, which is also my official website. If you need to ask for any questions for a tour, you can send an email that you can find in the contact form on my official website, which is grandtourexperience.com. Thank you if you're leaving coffees. I cannot control right now. I must see only after. Thank you for the coffee that you can leave. You can find links into the description of the tour or PayPal, wherever you want. But let's see. I will put tours into the calendar in the next few days, so you will receive a newsletter discovering other part of the region together. Grazie mille, grazie, and see you next time. Have a lovely day wherever you are. Stay safe, and